Good Thursday morning and welcome to Korea Today, brought to you live from Seoul.
A conspiracy to stage a rebellion. The National Intelligence Service arrests 3 left-leaning United Progressive Party officials on rare conspiracy charges. Among them, a scheme to blow up national infrastructure.
President Park Geun-hye asks the nation's business leaders to make bold investments. Details just ahead.
How are the newspapers covering the story on the lawmakers' alleged conspiracy? More coming up on In Print.
Is it safe to eat fish imported from Japan? And just how bad is the leakage at Fukushima Nuclear Plant? We have the latest info for you.
A cultural sensation, collaborative design products are adding more color with a fuller spirit of art to our daily lives. We take a look at this marriage between 2 worlds. Then we take you on a serene journey around the beautiful folds of Chiri Mountain's Leak, one of Korea's leading destinations for hiking. Join us for a peaceful, healing trip on this Thursday, August 29th, 2013.
From Arirang News, this is Korea Today.
Good morning and thank you for joining us on this Thursday morning.
Thanks for tuning in. Some of you might be joining us from your breakfast table with your morning cup of milk or coffee with milk, but it looks like you'll have to pay more for that milk starting tomorrow. The country's biggest milk producer, Seoul Milk, has decided to raise the price of milk by 220 won per liter. So starting tomorrow, 1 liter of milk will cost you 2,520 won, which is about $2.25.
And this is due to the rise in the raw milk prices from farms. But if you're thinking, hey, I don't drink that much milk, it doesn't really affect me, it's not a big deal, you may be surprised to know how much milk is used in general food products. For example, cheese, we're talking about pizza, ice cream, bread. All these will be affected by this rise in milk prices as well.
Okay, no more cafe lattes for me. I'm going Americano all the way now.
Yep, you gotta cut down on the milk now, right?
All right, we'll go to Na Hyung-kyung for a look at the day's headlines.
For the first time in more than 30 years, charges of conspiracy for rebellion is being mentioned in South Korea. On Wednesday, the offices and homes of some 10 left-leaning figures, including minor opposition Unified Progressive Party lawmaker Lee Seok-gi, were raided. It was chaos at the National Assembly, with National Intelligence Service officials trying to get into Lee's office, while Lee's aides allegedly tried to destroy evidence by shredding documents. The group are accused of planning a rebellion and violating the national security law. The NIS has reportedly obtained audio files of the group talking about preparing weapons and destroying public offices in case of emergency. Now, this is not the first time Representative Lee has made headlines. He has taken several controversial pro-North Korea actions in the past. After being elected last year, he refused to sing South Korea's national anthem, saying it should not be considered as the national anthem, but he is suspected of singing North Korea's song of the red flag. The 2 Koreas have reached a final agreement on the details of the joint committee that will manage the Inter-Korean Kaesong Industrial Park. An official at Seoul's Unification Ministry said Wednesday that the 2 sides only need to sign the documents now, and that once the committee is formed, Seoul and Pyongyang will be able to hold meetings on a regular basis and oversee the management of the business park together. Meanwhile, North Korea has expressed regret over South Korea's offer to postpone the working level talks on reopening the Mount Kumgang tourism project. Pyongyang had wanted to hold the talks later this month or early next month, but Seoul proposed delaying the talks to early October, saying successfully organizing inter-Korean family reunions slated to start on September 25th should be given priority. And speaking of the reunions, on Thursday, for a second day, a group of South Korea's Red Cross officials will make a trip to Mount Kumgang in the north, the venue for the event, to check on the facilities. President Park Geun-hye has called on the country's top conglomerates to make bold investment in return for a possible easing of corporate governance regulations. Korea's top 10 business leaders, including Samsung Electronics Chairman Lee Gun-hee and Hyundai-Kia Automotive Group Chairman Chung Mong-gu, were invited to a luncheon at the presidential office of 청와대 on Wednesday.
지금이야말로 각 기업에서 적극적이고 선도적인 투자가 필요한 시점입니다. 우리 국민들이 간절히 바라고 있는 일자리 창출은 정부가 아니라 기업의 의지가 있어야 하는 것입니다.
The president promised that her administration's efforts to create a fairer market environment will not turn into excessive regulations on the nation's conglomerates. In response, the chairman of the Federation of Korean Industries, Ho Chang-soo, said the country's top 30 companies are planning on making a record-high investment this year. Following Wednesday's meeting, President Park will meet with heads of the nation's small and mid-sized companies on Thursday. The government has unveiled a set of measures to boost the sluggish property market and divert the heavy demand in the country's 전세 market to the sales market. 전세, of course, refers to Korea's unique property lease system where you pay a lump sum of money as a deposit instead of buying or paying rent. Now, as part of its plan, the Finance Ministry has offered to lower acquisition tax rates for home purchases by half to an average 2%. The adjusted tax rates will be applied to multiple house owners, and that's not all.
We will expand the number of people benefiting from the system by raising the salary cap for those eligible for subsidies from the current 45 million won to 60 million. We will also introduce a new support system for purchasing homes with mortgage rates between 1% and 2%.
The government also plans to supply about 23,000 public rental housing units during the latter half of this year and offer more tax benefits for monthly renters to reduce the financial burden on people switching from 전세 to monthly rent systems.
Good morning, everyone. The alleged conspiracy of a left-leaning party's lawmaker, as you just heard in the headlines, is the main story covered by the newspapers today as well. Let's go on and take a look at this first article right over here at 동아일보. The headline here reads, Lee Seok-gi conspired to destroy communication, railway, gas facilities. Minor Unified Progressive Party's lawmaker Lee Seok-gi's office was raided yesterday on accusations of setting up a secret organization to overthrow the fundamentals of the South Korean government. Now, the secret organization consisted of 130 members from the Democratic Revolutionary Party. This party was believed to have broken apart back in 1997 after it was called an anti-government organization. But Lee and the members have allegedly come together again under the name Revolutionary Organization and conspired to aid the North Korean military if invaded by the North, according to the Daily. The NIS and prosecution says the organization was planning on destroying major communication facilities as well as blocking the transport route for wartime supplies in the face of invasions from North Korea. The country's spy agency and prosecutors received a search and seizure warrant of these officials, including Representative Lee Seok-gi, and arrested 3 of Lee's aides for violating the national security law.
You can see a bit of struggle if you look closely in that picture between NIS officials and party members, right?
You're right. This is the office of lawmaker Lee, and you see the members of the Unified Progressive Party trying to block the raid. And the article tells us that the NIS has been carrying out this internal investigation for the past 3 years, and that after it found that the Democratic Revolutionary Party had been holding meetings. And with that, let's go over to our next daily, which has a more striking image of the same scene. And we see here again Representative Lee Seok-gi and again his office, where you see the Unified Progressive Party's officials trying to block the raid. The article notes that this is creating colossal waves, as this is the first time a lawmaker is under investigation for conspiring a rebellion. But let's go ahead and take a look at this side story right over here and switch gears. The headline here reads, A housing fund at 1% range, low interest rate offered starting October. So the government has unveiled new sets of measures to revive the real estate market on Wednesday, as you heard from the beginning of our program. And the article tells us that come October, the state-run housing fund will provide 20-year mortgages for up to 40% of home prices. And for the first 5 years, the interest rate will be at 1%, according to the paper. So under this mortgage, the government and homeowners will be able to share the profits and losses depending on the price fluctuation. The government also agreed to lower the home acquisition tax by a full percentage point to 1% for homes priced at around 600 million won, or that's roughly 530,000 US dollars, those which are in greatest demand. Let's go on over to our Gyeongang-Sinmun. And the headline here reads, down here actually reads, President Park economic democratization will not suffocate companies. Now, as you heard from Hyungyung's headlines, President Park did call on the country's conglomerates to make bold investments, but at the same time emphasized the government will not excessively regulate the conglomerates, according to the Daily. The president also went on to say that the government will carefully review the controversial commercial law revision that businesses say will impair their managerial rights. These comments, the paper says, were part of the president's efforts to control widespread discontent among businesses against the government's regulatory moves. Let's go on over to our business news and take a look at the story right down under here. And this is the Mail Business newspaper, of course. The headline reads, Syria causes jump in international oil prices. So the paper tells us that oil prices have been on the rise amid growing fears of a military strike against Syria. This on top of the talks of a currency crisis in developing countries. As of 3 p.m. Korea time on Wednesday, the West Texas Intermediate crude surged to $111 a barrel, which is the highest level since April of 2011, according to the paper. Concern over conflict in Syria has also led to the surge in gold prices as well to 1,432 US dollars, which is the highest since May. The Indian rupee fell by 2.8%, setting another record low on Wednesday. Now to take a look at how the Korean market fared, here are your numbers from Wednesday's market close.
The continuous sell-off in emerging markets has become an issue of growing concern recently. The index of leading U.S. economic indicators and the Fed's looming tapering out of its stimulus program has rattled these markets. This current situation began back in May when U.S. Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke signaled that a potential cutback on quantitative easing would begin later in the year. In response to this, stock markets in emerging countries have been plunging with currency rates plummeting. On top of that, markets rattled again both in Asia and the U.S., with speculations growing that a U.S. military strike on Syria is imminent. Although Korea felt some shockwaves from this announcement, the damage is still relatively minimal compared to other emerging markets. And while experts worry that such negative trends might spread, they also concluded this could be an opportunity to bring investment to Korea. With several events affecting the stock market and growing concerns about a looming financial crisis in September, many have their eyes on how this situation will unfold.
And to help us better understand how this situation will indeed unfold, we have Professor Shin Sang-hyuk from Kyung University joining us in the studio. Thanks for being here, Professor.
My pleasure.
Right, jitters over a possible U.S.-led attack on Syria are affecting most of the markets, especially Asia, but Korea's Kospi remained pretty much unaffected on Wednesday, and some are even saying, as we heard in the report, that it could be an opportunity for Korea to invest, actually lure in more investment. How so?
Yes. Well, in a world, the main reason why we have more comparatively attractive position in attracting the foreign capital than other developing countries is simply because of the stronger economic fundamentals. Korea has a stronger economic fundamental than any other emerging economies. Let me tell you the details, how we have such a stronger economic fundamentals. Firstly, Korea has the huge current account surplus. In the year 2013, the current account surplus is expected to reach $53 billion. And also we have the low external debt ratio. This is very important. Particularly out of our external debt structure, the short-term foreign debt ratio is very low. Actually, it is below 30%. When you think about evaluate the economic structure, the strongness of the economic fundamentals, we have to consider the foreign debt ratio, including the short-term foreign debt out of total national foreign debt.
And not to mention the foreign reserves.
Yes, and also we have the huge amount of the foreign reserves. Actually, the foreign reserves we have is the 7th largest in the world. As of the end of 2012, we had the $329.7 billion in our safe. So we can use this the money in case of some crisis we have. So these are the macroeconomic indexes showing how strong economic fundamentals we have.
No, but many analysts in Korea are warning to brace for a possible global financial crisis in September. How serious would you say the situation is at the moment?
Well, I think the people pay attention too much on the events which are scheduled to be held in September. Firstly, there will be the general election in Germany.
Right.
Certainly, depending on the outcomes of general election in Germany, the world economy can be affected. Secondly, U.S. Congress is scheduled to debate on whether they raise its debt ceiling or not. This is very, very important, determining the U.S. economy. And the another one is the Federal Open Market Committee, FOMC, is scheduled to be held in September too. All these events are very important whenever we think about the global economy, future global economy. But I think considering the all economic conditions surrounding us, I think we can avoid the worst situation. So I can say that I have rather optimistic view on the future global economy. Optimistic view does not mean that global economy will improve a lot in a certain period.
But it won't plunge.
Yes, they show quite slow recovering trends. So I think that in September, we don't have to worry too much. And the one thing which I want to emphasize more is that, as I mentioned before, the economic fundamental, Korean economic fundamental, is stronger than the other, most emerging economies. So I think we can minimize the effect, the negative impacts from the crisis in September.
Well, right now, the Syrian factor is really playing a role here. The U.S. market closed up, although it was affected the day before, and although Korea's market is staying pretty resilient to the factor, but what would happen if the Western forces do go ahead and attack Syria? What will happen then to the economy?
Well, I think the Syrian situation can directly affect the oil prices in the international market. As you know very well, the oil is very, very important raw materials, affecting the economic activities in every country. Well, in fact, Syria herself is not the big oil producing country, but they said that if any, US, UK, or France, if they launch attack against them, they will take some revengeous actions too. So many experts are really worried about they can destroy some the oil pipelines, which is very close to Syria. So if they take those kind of actions against the oil refinery facilities, oil pipelines, whatever, it will directly affect the oil prices. The oil price will go up. The oil prices is really important also for the Korean economy. Let me give you some details. We estimated the economic growth rates in the 2013. Many government think tanks and government itself gave us the estimated economic growth rate. If I use the economic growth rate released by the government, it is about 2.6%. But there's for the year. But there's an assumption. It was calculated based on the assumption that oil price will remain at $99 per barrel. But as you know very well, the oil price already went up to $110 level. So we have some negative impact on the Korean economic growth. So when you think about the economic growth rate, if the oil price increased by 10%, it will create minus 0.2% decrease of the economic growth rate in Korea.
Okay, that's a projection.
Yes.
Right.
And then while the prices will go up by 0.2%. So already, as I mentioned before, in the international market, oil prices went up. If Syrian situation is getting worse, we can easily expect that the oil price will go up again. Then directly, from this situation, we will get serious impact on our economic growth.
We are almost running out of time. So very briefly, what measures then should be taken in advance by the Korean government to minimize the external factors affecting our economy? I mean, we do have looming financial crisis from emerging markets, including India, the hardest hit nation at the moment.
Well, I think from the crisis, in Asia, we will not get serious damages. That's the point which I want to emphasize. But to answer your question, I think we got very valuable lessons from our experiences in 1997 when we had the financial crisis. So I do strongly recommend that Korean government should have to strengthen the cooperation in the financial sector with the major economies, including U.S. and China. You may heard about swap, right? Swap system is one of the way to minimize the potential impact from the financial crisis in Asia. And another one is that we have to develop more efficient management system to keep the appropriate volume of the foreign reserves. In 1997, we just focusing on the exchange rates mechanism rather than the foreign reserves. So if we have enough foreign reserves to manage any potential crisis in financial market, I think we will be able to minimize the impact very efficiently, I think.
All right. Thank you very much, Professor Shin, for joining us and sharing your insight this morning. Thank you.
Why, my pleasure.
We do appreciate it.
And still ahead on Korea Today, with an increasing demand for innovative, eye-catching designs, manufacturers are joining hands with artists so that consumers can infuse quality art in their everyday lives. We take a look at the synergy effect of collaborative design.
And time now to get a check on the weather. It was raining earlier today, but let's hope our Dami is carrying an umbrella.
All right, we'll see how the conditions are outside. Dami joins us. Good morning, Dami.
Oh, nope, umbrella, no rain.
Good morning, everyone. Today, I'm reporting live from Eunpyeonggu, Seoul. Now, this morning, we are seeing signs of scattered showers. It is going on and off. We are seeing cloudy skies and some very gusty winds as well. Today, we will receive nationwide precipitation, and here in the central regions, we can expect up to 30 to 80 millimeters of rain. Now, some areas will see concentrated downpours, and those areas will receive up to 120 millimeters. So for those of you that made any outdoor plans, please be cautious on the roads. As for temperatures right now, it's 23 degrees Celsius. Here in Seoul, our highs will only reach up to 26 degrees. It looks like once the rain does clear up, then the rest of the nation will also see highs within the 20s. Let's now take a look at the temperatures around Korea. Daejeon's highs have dipped to 27, while Daegu will still be hot at 31. Busan and Gwangju will rise to 30 as Jeju Island will be the hottest at highs with 33 degrees. Make sure to have your umbrellas ready today and tomorrow because it looks like we'll have cloudy skies and scattered showers once again throughout the day. That's all I have for the weather forecast. I'll be back in the latter half.
Yesterday, Japan's nuclear watchdog raised the scale of radiation-contaminated water leaks from the Fukushima nuclear plant that was hit by a massive tsunami back in 2011. The big concern is how much of this toxic water will reach the sea, contaminating the sea and marine products as well.
And many fear that this may be just the beginning of a massive radiation leak, which is caused mostly from contaminated water that's seeping underground and into the sea. And joining us this morning is Song Ji-sun to tell us a bit more about this leak and what's going on. Good morning.
Good morning, Ji-sun.
Good morning, guys. And Tokyo has just admitted last week that it has admitted the stricken Fukushima nuclear plant has been leaking some 300 tons of contaminated water from its cooling water tank a day. That is equivalent to 4 to 5 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Can you imagine just how much that is?
Wow.
And they reached a point that they had to announce this fact because they couldn't hold it any longer or build more tanks to contain the water. And TEPCO needed approval to release the water into that ocean. And as the contaminated water released into the sea means that fish exposed to radiation could end up on our tables, people are increasingly worried about the actual situation. So into a fish market it is to gauge the public fear. Let's take a look. It's an early morning at this large fisheries wholesale market in Seoul. It should be bustling with retailers and consumers, but only a few transactions are being made as people are refraining from buying fish over concerns about radiation. Consumer concerns about the safety of Japanese fish imports are growing here in Korea, with more and more people steering clear of seafood from Japan.
Consumers ask first whether the product is from Japan. They become extremely sensitive, so they won't purchase anything, even the smallest fish, if it's from Japan.
Our sales have dropped by 80 to 90%. Seoul's Fisheries Corporation conducts radiation screenings every day, and the results come out normal all the time. But consumers seem to be rejecting all Japanese products.
Concerns persist about goods not just from Japan, but from anywhere the radioactive water could have potentially reached. According to data by Korea's large supermarket chains, sales of pollock and mackerel, which were found with cesium from Japanese imports, dropped by 60 and 29% respectively in August from the same month a year ago. To ease public concern on the issue, the Korean government has revved up inspections, saying it will increase radiation monitoring on seafood imports from once a week to twice a week. But not many feel relieved with the slight boost in examinations. Even though experts say there's very little chance that consumers will be directly affected by fish contaminated by Fukushima's radiation, a serious fallout may be witnessed several years down the line.
It's just a matter of probability, but the thing is that if it comes to the numbers, the figures, the probability, then the hard truth of the matter is it could be you. We try to stay away from that odd probability. So it's not zero, but it's close to zero. Not right now, but maybe 25, 30 years, even not this generation, but next generation, next generation. So it's just like we call this potent effect, not immediate effect.
The international community has also been urging the Japanese government to come forward and release details on what many believe is a deteriorating leakage of contaminated water from the nuclear plant. But many feel that Seoul has not been resolute enough in handling the situation with Japan.
The Korean government should be going real proactively. They're keeping a little bit too low profile. The Ministry of Science was telling us that they're needing to run some cases, and then they never did it. Germany, far from here, they've done their homework.
With Japan's hesitation to reveal concrete figures and few clues to even gauge the level of contaminated water being released daily, there's not much ground for people to comfortably return to their normal fish consumption habits. Now, just yesterday, Japan has responded to Korea's request made 2 weeks ago for a detailed report on the radiation and leakage at Fukushima. In this 100-page report, Japan lists its plans and current status of Fukushima and vowed to question a session with Seoul in the near future. And early this week, Japan has also reached out seeking for foreign expertise in handling the situation, hinting a slight change in their attitude that they can no longer hold within themselves, will have to share and seek help in the international community.
Okay, and I guess this is the question that's weighing most on the minds of people who are in Korea. Are the waters of Korea safe? More specifically, the East Sea. Is it safe?
To give you the direct answer, the answer is yes. And the Korean Sea is not directly affected. And let's take a look at the current flow of the water. Now, this is a simulation by a German institute and showing the radiation that's spread into the Pacific Ocean as time goes by. And if you can take a look, the radiation reaches the Pacific Ocean and the west coast of the Americas. That's expected to be at 2 to 3 years of time. Well, just last year, they found a fish with radiation level in the west coast of Americas, meaning it took only 1 year for fish to reach that the other part of the ocean. And it takes about 3 to 5 years in total for the water current to come back to the Pacific Ocean near the Japanese Sea. But it's not coming back to the Korean Sea or the East Sea because it's not part of the flow.
Now, the government is doing what it can to monitor the situation, monitoring the seafood imports. But is it enough? Is it ever going to be enough?
Honestly, not really, because they only test 2 elements, which is iodine and cesium. But they're not testing elements such as strontium or plutonium, which is heavier and which is more fatal to the human body. And of course, cesium is known as strontium is known as a bone seeker, meaning it sticks to the bone and does not go out, whereas cesium goes out of the body within 3 months or 100 days within time. Now that means it's still excreted but stays in the body, and it's especially not recommended for pregnant women or young children to intake even the smallest amount of food that was exposed to radiation.
So how fatal are we talking about here? You said fatal, so how fatal is fatal?
Well, nobody can really tell about the aftermath or the effect that could take on the body. But for example, cesium has 30 years of half-life. And like I said, it takes 3 months to get out of the body. But when your body is exposed to such elements of radiation, you could actually lead to mutation of cells or actually a lot of cancers, because all these radioactive elements are carcinogens, and thyroid cancer, lung cancer, or any type of cancer that could take place, and nobody can be sure who's going to be the target or the victim of this radiation. And over the past 2 years, we've been seeing a lot of fish coming from the Japanese Sea with a severe level of the radiation level. Some reached 97 becquerels. Now that's 3 becquerels short of government's level of 100 becquerels, but it's still a lot of amount of people who are very fragile to those effects, like I said, pregnant women and young children.
All right, well, it seems that the levels that are coming in are still under, but at the same time, it's right at the borderline there,
exactly.
so it is reason for concern.
Keep a close eye there. Thank you for following this story, Ji-san.
Yeah, we'll keep on following up.
All right, still ahead on Korea today. Later on in our program, we will take you to Chiri Mountains, Dullekil, where travelers can get a sip of traditional handmade rice wine, visit one of Korea's most impressive Buddhist temples, and see adorable bears. We take you there with Jesse Day.
You know, Jesse Day just always has all the fun going to these special places. He'll be joining us later on Korea
Adorable
Today.
bears.
The adorable bears.
He's one cute, adorable bear himself, Jesse Day.
All right, it's time for Design Korea, and today we'll be looking at collaborative design. No, it's not a collaboration between Tiger JK and some other Korean pop artists like Psy, but it's a collaboration of art and also products. So many manufacturers are getting together to put the product out there and make it look good by inviting artists to make the designs for it. We'll take a look.
The idea of collaborating stems from the Italian Medici family, who lived in the cradle of the Renaissance movement and supported artists with great talent by providing them all support possible. As many are seeing collaboration as an effective marketing tactic, big companies with strong purchasing power are introducing more high-end collaborative products. Even though Andy Warhol, dubbed as the master of pop art, is no longer alive, his works have been used in collaboration with various brands to be reborn as beverages, clothes, and cosmetics.
When a company collaborates with people, it is essentially buying the image and individuality of each artist or designer they are working with. Collaborative pieces not only benefit companies commercially, but also culturally contribute to society. And in that sense, the products are killing two birds with one stone.
The Sportsack is loved by many because of the various colors and prints on its products, which are also light and water resistant. The brand is able to bring in more customers as the company comes out with new collections each season. Thanks to Le Sportsack's active collaboration efforts, the brand has worked with many renowned individuals for their product designs and lines.
We find it most worthwhile when consumers see artists or their work that they knew of already and witness it transforming into something else. They see how the designs can become really versatile.
This season, Korean book columnist and illustrator Bap Jung, for the first time, collaborated with Le Sportsack. Jung has been recognized for his particular style of designs and work and was able to feature his pieces on television ads, on clothes, calendars, and murals.
Le Sportsack is known for its bright colors and whimsical prints, so I created these patterns and prints with their brand image in mind. The process of creating this collection was truly a collaboration because I had to learn a lot about the Le Sportsack brand in order to better integrate my personal style.
Smart device accessory brand iFace is working with a Korean designer to come out with a practical and exclusive design through art collaboration.
ArtFace is a brand developed to help build clear communication between the artist and consumer. And as more customers are interested in diverse artwork, we'll continue to introduce products by putting art and technology together.
This textile case design is a collaboration released by iFace and the animal-friendly home and decoration brand Zookeeper.
The brand Zookeeper uses animals as its foundation for designing. Because the designs are detailed and include animals, when it meets with case designs from Artifact, it creates a synergy effect. Leo flower patterns gives off a very strong yet feminine feel as the leopard print and trumpet lilies are mixed in perfectly with the color pink.
As diverse collaboration products are able to convey different emotions, they have become popular among consumers, and celebrities have also joined in on this trend. Collaborative design products allow different styles and ideas to produce a totally unique design concept. These great products are the results of balanced integration between two worlds.
And a good Thursday morning to you all as we kick things off with the 2013 World Rhythmic Gymnastics Championships taking place at Kiev, Ukraine. Now 19-year-old Sonia Jen looking for her first ever medal at the event. Completed her hoop and ball events as she scored 17.550 and 17.400 respectively, which is of course good for 34.950 points. Now more updates on her after she completes her clubs and ribbon events as well. So with that said, let's move on to some Wednesday night's KBO action. The Kia Tigers beat the Lotte Giants in a tight game 5-4 with the NC Dinos all over these Samsung Lions last night 9-1. So with that said, let's take a look at the other two games that took place last night, starting off with the big game between the LG Twins and the Nexen Heroes. Of course, shifting over to the game, we go over to the second inning of the game. Here's Seo Dong-uk at bat. A lucky infield single scores the first run. Kang Jong-ho, of course, coming in to score in this game, and it's 1-0 Nexen Heroes. Fifth inning, here's Lee Tae-gun this time, flies out to center field. This scores another, and Nexen takes a 2-0 lead. Now, bottom of the inning, here's Lee Byung-gyu, an RBI double to right field. 2-1 Nexen Heroes before this next play. Yoon Yo-sup, he's going to help them score 2 more runs here as LG takes the lead 3-2. Eighth inning of the game, here's Park Byung-ho at bat. Drills this one deep to left field, back, and it is out of here. A 2-run shot. his 25th of the season as Nexon takes the lead 4-3. Ninth inning, Song Seung-lak at bat, and he strikes out here. Lee Byung-gyu out of here. Yang Yong-dong at bat, strikes out swinging as well. Next batter, Moon Sun-jae pops out to second base. Ball game over. Nexon sweeps the LG Twins 4-3 as they're now tied with Tucson for third place. And next up, the Hanwha Eagles taking on the SK Wyverns. Second inning, Park Jin-man RBI single to left makes it 1-0 SK Wyverns. Before this next play here, bases loaded for Cho Dong-hwa. He takes the walk, and in comes the second run of the game. Go over to the third inning of the game, down 2-0. Lee Dae-soo at bat. He's going to send this one to left field, back, and it is out of here. A solo shot cuts the deficit to 2-1 SK Wyverns. Sixth inning, Song Kwang-min at bat, an RBI double ties the ball game here at 2-2. Before Ko Dong-jin at bat is going to fly out to center field, brings home another run, and the Hanwha Eagles take the lead 3-2. Next inning though, Park Jung-kwon deep to right field. No doubt about it, tie ball game 3-3. And here we go in the ninth inning, base loaded, one man out. Park Jin-man's gonna fly out to right field. In comes the winning run. Ball game over. SK wins it at the bottom of the ninth. 4-3, your final score. And with that said, moving on to some midweek K-League Classic action where Seongnam beat Gangwon FC 2-0. Jeju United over Busan 2-1. Daegu all over Daejeon 3-1. And the big game here, Ulsan Hyundai Tigers topping Pohang Steelers 2-0. So with that said, let's take a look at the other two games that took place, starting off with FC Seoul taking on Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors. Of course, going into the game here, both sides very aggressive from the start, but no goals being scored in the first half of the match as the first half ends 0-0. But in the second half of the game, here is Kevin Orris back of the net, and it's 1-0 Jeonbuk. Now FC Seoul continues to press forward in this one, in the 61st minute pays off when Dan Damjanovic pokes one in, the equalizer, as both sides draw 1-1 after 90 minutes of play. And next up, moving on to the Suwon Samsung Blue Wings taking on Incheon United. Only takes the 1 minute for the first goal to be scored here as Lee Seok-hyun sends one past the goalkeeper, and it's 1-0 Incheon after the first minute. Now down 1-0 after the first half, Suwon Santos, he's going to level this one in the 66th. A brilliant goal there, and we have a brand new match. Maybe spoke too soon because in the 73rd, Incheon once again, Diogo this time. Let's make it 2-1 Incheon. Not done yet, 90th minute of the match. Han Gyo-won, he's going to send this one past the goalkeeper, brings down the curtain. Another goal here brings down Suwon. 3-1 is your final score. And with that said, that's going to wrap it up for me. This has been SJ. Have a great rest of the day and see you guys again for your sports needs.
Let's go back to our Dami and see what she's up to. She's joining us from a multicultural museum. Back to you.
Backdrop.
It is. Back to you, Dami.
I'm back reporting live from the Multicultural Museum located in Eunpyeonggu, Seoul. Now, the 21st century is a time where multicultural societies are becoming more common, even here in Korea. So it's important to understand the different cultures here in the world, and that's one of the main reasons as to why the Multicultural Museum exists, so that people can experience it for themselves all in one place. Now, this morning we have instructor Benita Siana here with us, so let's talk more with her. Good morning.
Good morning. Hi.
Hi. So can you go ahead and tell us what some of the experiences are?
Well, in this multicultural museum, we can actually do a lot of things, not only to learn about all the culture from around the world, but also we can do like cooking classes, yeah, traditional clothing, put it on. And then we can also do some traditional dances or songs or even like instrument.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, wow, the food sounds tempting, but I'll have to wait on that. Thank you so much. All right, so hi, good morning.
Jumbo.
Jumbo.
You like this?
Oh, yay, thank you.
Cool, you're
okay,
welcome.
so Daniel, I've heard that I'm going to learn Kenyan traditional dance this morning. Okay, so go ahead and show us some moves.
Yeah, so we have djembe here.
Oh, djembe.
Djembe is quite popular in Africa.
Okay.
And then today I'll just give you a little tidbits from this. Are you ready to try this?
Yes, I'll try it right here.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Let's see what we can bring up. queen.
I don't know. It's a lot more difficult than I thought it would be, but thank you so much for your time. So this is your look at the multicultural museum. If you'd like to come on over and then definitely make a reservation and check it out for yourselves and learn about the different cultures. Amidami, Korea today. Okay, should we try it one more time? Okay, go ahead.
Traveling along walking trails is becoming more and more popular these days, starting with 올레길 in Jeju Island, 둘레길 in Bukhan Mountain, and 자락길 in Sobek Mountain. And joining us this morning is one cuddly bear, no grizzly bear, Jesse Day, who will take us to 둘레길 in Chiri Mountain. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, guys. Happy to be here. And this time I did go to South Jeolla Province to Gure, where there is the Jirisan Duregil, a beautiful hiking trail. I was able to take in all the sights and enjoy that, as well as the hospitality of the people. So let's check out this beautiful destination together. Jiri Mountain is one of the most famous in Korea, and Duregil that connects 5 cities. Of these, the one that trails along Gure, South Jeolla Province, is the most captivating. There's a wave of visitors year-round who come to see Jiri Mountain and Somjin River with scenery that transforms with the season. And so, we headed to Gure to enjoy some healing time. Hello guys, I'm Jesse Day. I'm here in Gure in South Jeolla Province. Why am I here? Well, one of the most beautiful mountains ever is right here, called Jirisan, and we're going on the Jirisan Dulegil, a special hiking trail to see the beautiful sights of the country. As we wait for the bus to Duregil at Jiri Mountain, it starts raining cats and dogs.
Oh no.
Well, you know what? The rain has started to fall pretty heavily right now, but I never let a rainy day spoil my fun. I'm going hiking anyways and make the best of the situation. Despite the rain, we headed to Omi village, located some 20 minutes away from the bus terminal, since this is where the Dulegil begins. On the way, I look up my trail course by installing the Dulegil audio guide app made available by the Korea Tourism Organization for foreign visitors, and it really is convenient to be able to find which trail is best for you.
Another app. What will you do without your app?
Exactly. At Omi Village, you'll be greeted by the charm of the countryside on the magnificent backdrop of the scenery. Okay, I think it's time to bring out my raincoat because it's kind of raining a lot. I wasn't expecting this, but you roll with the punches and you take what life gives you. And today it's given me rain. Thank you. Be grateful.
Giving you great scenery as well.
I got my rain gear on and I'm
Yeah.
ready to trek. Let's go. Very nice. And if you follow this road at the end, you'll see a traditional Korean house named Unjoru, which means the house of birds behind the clouds.
마침 오늘 또 술을 담고 있거든요. 전통주. 예, 한번 가서 같이 보시죠.
It's time to make some traditional rice rind at this old historic house.
Wow.
I'm curious to find out how it's actually made.
지금 전통주를 만들기 위해서 지금 고두밥을 찌고 있는 겁니다. 고두밥이라는 게
고두밥.
쌀을 찌고 있다는 겁니다.
네. Godubap is the most important ingredient in making this drink, and it's used to reduce the wine's fermenting time. And finally, the godubap is ready.
Oh, she's just gonna dig her hands in there. Wow.
Wow.
네.
Looks like it's hot.
It is.
Obviously, you can't handle that.
A little hot. Still pretty good.
That's just regular rice?
Yeah, basically. With yeast and water added to the cooled godubap for fermentation, the pure white-colored traditional rice wine is complete. The sound of the rain adds more beauty to this glorious and aged house.
Why is my stomach making noise with the sight of that?
Yeah.
I guess you need a drink.
It's a wonder.
A little early for that.
Did you bring some back
exactly
with you?
my point.
It's really unique. It's actually not so sweet. The makgeolli you usually buy at the store has kind of a sweeter, lighter taste. This is a little bit heavier and more alcohol tasting, but very clean and delicious. So cheers.
둘레길 예, 조심해.
네.
재밌게 다녀오십시오.
네. 고맙습니다. 수고하셨습니다.
Very proper.
Yeah. He's a really nice guy, the owner of that house.
Give you free drinks too.
Yeah, that's true. Today's Dudaegil starts at the Omi village, goes through Sangsa village, famous for being a longevity town, and leads to Bangwang village. The Omi Bangwang Trail is a relatively easy 12.2-kilometer course that is good for beginners. After a short, enjoyable break at Omi village, I start out on the Dudaegil course. Walking along this path, visitors are bound to be awed by the traditional houses and beautiful scenery, as well as the villagers' warm hospitality along the way. The beauty of the verdant, green, lush forest, the mist rolling over the mountains here. It is an absolutely breathtaking sight and a refreshing hike. While enjoying my solo hike on Dudaegil, I found some fellow travelers walking in the rain. 안녕하세요. 안녕하세요. I wonder what brought them here.
왜 이렇게 지리산 둘레길 오게 됐대?
그냥 좀 27살에 새로운 목표를 찾고 싶어서.
좋은 여행 보내세요. 네, 안녕히 계세요. Goodbyes are never easy, but we all say our farewells to embark on different journeys.
Make some new friends along the way.
Yeah, always. Solo traveling can become a bit lonely at times, but here at Dudaegil, with so much to see and experience through the forest and valleys, there's really no time for boredom. I arrive at the Species Restoration Technology Institute inside the Jiri Mountain National Park. There's a special eco-center to help the almost extinct Asiatic black bears to safely return to nature while researchers study them. A great thing is, visitors can see some of these mammals as the park opens up this special exploration course.
There's the adorable bear.
Yeah.
Yep.
And actually, you can see where the Asiatic black bears sleep during the winter.
No way.
Whoa. This is way deeper
In
than
the
I
tree?
expected. Yeah, it's a perfect spot. And this sort of tree is a place where bears go to hibernate in the winter to get away from the cold and keep warm. And it looks like a pretty good place to hide as well. It's a lot deeper than I expected.
I always thought they go underground.
I'm not going in there.
I
don't think I'll ever come out
Right?
again.
Right.
Not in the middle of a tree stump.
After the eco-education site, I visit one of the 10 must-see places in Gure, Hwaeom Temple. It's the biggest and most solemn Buddhist temple here. 안녕하십니까? 네. At Temple Stay, you can surround yourself in nature and have a truly relaxing experience. This traditional tea time is when visitors can talk to the head monk about their worries in their lives. And after tea time, the monk teaches a few basic temple manners, such as how to properly chant and bow. And it's actually harder on the legs than it looks. The Buddhist temple bell, drum, wooden carp-shaped drum, and cloud-shaped copper bell are 4 items used by monks to inform people at the temple of the Buddhist teachings. And the resounding soft chimes in the temple calms the mind.
I love the sound.
Yeah. The more I do the Buddhist bow by placing my head on the ground and raising my hands, there's a sense of cleansing that overtakes my body and soul. Well, I would call that prayer ceremony a great privilege to have been a part of. You can feel some sort of spiritual energy as the chanting of the monks and everybody together comes as one. I don't exactly know what it meant, but it definitely had an impact. And just the sheer size of this place. The ceiling is so high and these massive Buddha statues. It's something out of a movie and a really amazing experience.
I mean, I
I sometimes have the urge to go hiking, but solo hiking sometimes can be very dangerous, especially if you have bad weather conditions.
And if there's bears.
Yes, but they're adorable, so it's
yeah,
okay.
that's true. Yeah, well, there actually is a website. There is the Jirisan Duregil website. You can find it online. And you can actually find people who have posted to look for hiking partners. And you can put a post up yourself looking for people to go on the trail together with.
Okay, how do I trust them is my question.
There's some trust issues there. It looks like. Now, we're looking at the makgeolli that you were baking and also the experience there at the Unjoru house.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. Can anyone just go ahead and sign up for this experience?
Yeah, absolutely. Unjoru, the traditional house, not only can you make wine, but there's a lot of other experiences you can have as well. You can book reservations online and check out all the options available. And the owner of the house is a super nice guy, so he'll definitely treat you well.
And tell us about the temple stay program that almost made you into a reborn Buddhist.
Well, I don't know if I go that far, but yeah, Hua Om Temple is an absolutely beautiful, breathtaking place, particularly the meditation room. How vast it was with the golden statues was incredible. You can also go online, but keep in mind during different seasons, they have different age groups and different kind of packages going on. And starting September 6th, there will be 3 more temples opening up around the area for temple stay experiences as well. Wow. So be sure to check that out if you're interested.
All right, so sound body, sound mind, and plenty of drinking for Jessie Day on this trip.
And bears.
And bears. That's right. Thank you very much, Jessie.
Thank you.
And that will do it for this edition of Korea Today. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you back here Friday morning at 7.
Bye-bye.